So welcome back guys to another deck profile. Today I'll be covering Hexaorb Sorceress, which is a secondary right line for Genesis. Before I start, I'd like to thank everybody for your support. The views do mean much to me, and if you do like the content, do subscribe, as I have more content coming maybe like once or twice a week. So yeah, I'll give an update on that when it does come. So this video will actually contain two versions of Hexaorb which I've been playtesting alongside my friends, and also just deck lists which I've been topping throughout the weeks. Hexaorb is certainly not as popular compared to Bastion, but this doesn't mean this deck should be underestimated, as it can definitely hold its own against many decks if it plays well. The problem right now, I'll say, is of course its consistency, but cards from O2 being revealed actually seem to fix this problem. So if you want to really play a more balanced, or rather you're a fan of Genesis or Oracle, definitely give this deck a try. Now let's begin by going through the right line. So the right line begins with Tri-Connect Sorceress, which is our standard Overdress starter, which just draws you one if you start second. Then we'll go through Tier's Quest Sorceress, which is a grade 1, which has a skill. When written upon by Pentagram Sorceress, you can combo 1 to draw a card. Then on the Vanguard Circle is a skill. When you check a trigger, you can combo 1 to choose one opponent cards in the front row, Vanguard rather, and put it at the bottom of the deck. Pentaglim then activates when you write Hexaorb on top of Pentaglim, and it's able to reveal the top 3 cards of your deck and rearrange them in any order you like. On the Vanguard, it's able to be placed to do the top card for your deck to put it at the top or bottom, and you place it at the bottom, it gets 2k. Then let's end it off with Hexaorb Sorceress, which is our main ace card in the deck. So what makes the deck kind of potent is Hexaorb's first skill especially, which activates whenever you check a trigger. So this activates during your turn only, so it doesn't work for damage check, but every time you check a trigger, you can choose any other Vanguard and give it 10,000 power at the end of turn. So effectively, every trigger you check gives you twice the power of a normal trigger. This enables you to form powerful numbers even without really doing much, and it helps you build damage really early on. The second skill is very important for a more combo-esque playstyle, but it's relatively strong too. So for combo +1, if you persona write this turn, you can choose one crit or one front from your hand, put it at the top of the deck. So it's not a must, so if you don't have a crit or front, it still activates. Then it gets one drive at the end of turn. So this helps you guarantee your triple drive. It guarantees a crit or guarantees a front, depending on what you do play. Generally, because of this holistic rush playstyle that Hexaorb kind of promotes, crits are generally preferred, but fronts can still be played, especially in combo versions, which you need more for the long game. So this is Hexaorb mid-range, or rather turn 4. I'm not sure what to call it at. I'll probably call it Hexaorb combo. So this build basically focuses on playing into the personal right turns, which is the strongest turn Hexaorb can possibly reach, and actually can hit even higher numbers than Bastion when he was field setup. In this version, the key cards apart from the right line cards are Painkiller Angel. So this card has a skill Soul Blast 1, and when battle is boosted, you can Soul Blast, you can retire itself, Soul Blast 1, and you draw a card. So this helps you draw into your combo pieces, and especially your personal right, and even Fossard and Lepisto. The other key card here is Knight of War Damage Fossado. So Fossado's a very useful regard in Keter Century. It's kind of pricey, so definitely pick this up if you want to play the edition for a long time. So it has two skills. The first skill, it can be chosen by opponent's card effect, which makes it a very steady regard, and a card you can call out immediately on turn 3 without much problems about it. So this gets around most prison effects, most retire effects, and generally it's a very safe regard to play. Why do you want to play it? Is because the second skill is when it hits anything, you can counter charge 1 and soul charge 1. So this is the way you essentially maintain resources in the deck. As you will see, it can get really tough if you add in all the effects. The other key card, you want to not play at 4 because it's kind of cloggy, but here is Divine Sister Lepisto. So Lepisto is a skill, Combo +2. When your dry check reveals a trigger, you can resend this and give it 5k at the end of turn. So this enables you to get more than 3 attacks in a turn, which is very strong to make aggressive plays with Hexaorb on turn 3 to push damage. Or you can use it on your personal right turns to really put it up much more hand. As for the first attack, you'll still get the power from the personal right. Then these cards here are what I call the mandatory staples are Pentagram Sorceress. You're playing it currently in your right deck as well as your main deck. as it's the easiest way to scry and it's costless. So this helps you set up for triggers. It helps you win, because the more triggers you check, the stronger Hexaorb skill is. Then here is the target. So on rearguard, when you place it, you can snowball one to rest this. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put one to the top, one to the bottom. So this is the way you also help to guarantee triggers. So the reason why you play this mostly is help for your turn 3 plays, as I'll get into. To help you hit some triggers or just help you play into your cards. So to evaluate the counterblast cost with some of the cards you see here, we do play Divine Sister Fakiata. So Fakiata's skill is simple once per turn, so plus 2 when you check trigger, counter charge 1. It's really quite hefty, but some moments you use it just for the win clutch moments. Then for my personal choice here is the Hour of Holy Judgment Commerce. So Commerce is the easiest draw engine in Keter Sanctuary. It does cost plus 2, but it draws you 2 cards regardless, and gives any unit plus 5000 power. Definitely very strong out of set 1, and although you might say you're playing Letisto, right? But if you play in a way to apply pressure and foresight consistently, as well as some deck manipulation, you should be guaranteed a heal there. Getting the Blast is not too difficult, and generally you can even play up to 2 of it in one game. I know there are some talks about Elden and the Great Tree engine, which I will get into. I'll mention it briefly and even show a deck list at the end. So do stay tuned until there if you want to find out more about that build. Then my personal card choice here is Rough Look. So Rough Look is a familiar regard for more general players. Put it to the soul, you give any Great Tree regard tanky at the end of turn. Mainly it's a combo tool with Lepisto, or just a way to get more soul so you can play Fakiata, Painkiller and Tartin easily. So for trigger lineups, I like to cover. I feel personally after a lot of testing, the 8 crit is kind of mandatory, as without the critical triggers, Hexaorb cannot push for game from behind, which is what the deck really lacks, as Hexaorb has to put up constant pressure throughout the turns to actually win games comfortably. Ideally, you want to go at turn 3, call 2 front rows, get some crits at the top, so you can go for the crit, or you can go into other triggers. So 4 heals mandatory. Triggers, Amatinoa is the better one for this build in particular, but Alberon is pretty okay too. The reason why I like to play Amatinoa more is definitely because your front rows mostly get 3s in Keter Sanctuary, so having more draw checks is generally more appreciated. Then I just play some draws and even take in the 1 front trigger. As remember, if you do draw into it, you can just keep it in hand, and you can use it for Hexaorb when you put it at 5 damage to really push for a game. So as you put at 5 damage, your crit will only give 20k power, 10 from its own skill and 10 from the Hexaorb skill, but the front will give 30k as well as extra 10k. So late game, front skill better, crits are better to lead pressure. You can even cut the draws here if you really want to. But I do like this lineup. Maybe I'll drop one more draw or just play all fronts. Especially the new fronts with 20k shield coming out in O2. Definitely keep that in mind, as it might be a game changing thing for this deck. With that in mind, I'll show you some brief plays of how Hexaorb can play. Now let's go through some demo hand and let's play it out. Let's see, give you a brief flow of how the deck should play. So let's draw for turn. Draw for 5. Okay, what do we keep? Keep Commerce, as it's a bit to draw 2 cards. Let's keep Fakiata and triggers. Yeah, we just throw them back generally. Draw 3. It's pretty okay. We have Wizard's Cry. We do want a person right in our hand, ideally, as it guarantees a strong turn for push. But having cards to scry too is pretty good. Also having a draw engine is very strong too. Let's do a quick shuffle, and yeah, let's say we go first. Yeah, let's go first for the sake of example. So let's instead draw. Okay, there's too many of them. Drop this, right, and turn. So generally for the first turn, do not just guard, because you do not want to miss out on the skill of Steel Spare Sorceress. So you can just take the damage immediately, it's fine. So stand and draw. Oh, we got person right, that's lucky. So we just drop, let's drop one of this. Having the combos to refund for this is really good. So Pentagleam, combos 1, draw 1. Here you can actually call a booster too, to force some damage in, as if you do not boost attacks, it's a 15k to no pass. So you just play a constant, try to get 1 damage a turn early game. Great, okay, this is lucky. Then damage check, let's say. Yeah, good thing to mention is if you do check a trigger, you can actually counter charge for Fakiata. So in this situation where you do get it, you must actually determine whether you can use cards like Elden or even Commerce. So playing this early game is actually really strong as well. So we should counter charge over there, take a damage. Let's say the opponent's rushing you. Stand and draw. Then we can throw this with the right deck. Let's see if too many of them actually. Yeah, this looks pretty fine. I'll keep the rough look in there, just in case I go for more attackers. And then currently now it's not really generous. We need this for Persona right. We have ways to draw, but we have no guarantee for next turn. Let's throw one away. Hexaorb Sorcerer. So this is actually the most important turn for Hexaorb most of the time. So this initial turn 3 Scry with Pentaglim's effect is very key to play Hexaorb properly. So you look top trigger to your deck and see what you want. Like you're thinking like, not that many triggers, that's not, they ain't very good, right? Yeah, but ideally you want to leave it have a lot of triggers and just high roll opponent out of the game, right? But if you see a card like you want to draw, this is where cards like Commonwealth and Elden actually come in very useful, as it allows you to just play into the draw. So over here, since we don't have an ideal search, you put a crit at the bottom of the stack, then you place the cards you want to draw on the top. So when we play Commonwealth with it now, we will draw into them actually. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. So this is essentially the basic gameplay of Hexaorb. Now that we have set up pretty good turn, we have a Pentaglim and Archon Blast for next turn. You can just play a basic game. Hexaorb can attack, you check trigger. You can have option to either make one Vanguard very strong by putting both effects on it, or you can give the power on both sides. Another thing to note is that when giving the effect from Hexaorb, this activates during the trigger when you check trigger. So your opponent want to get 2 pass for your Vanguard. You check a trigger, you pump the 10k to the Vanguard, you can give 10k to the booster. Then by the rules of the game, the power from the booster actually transfers to the Vanguard. So this 2 to pass becomes 1 to pass. A 4 to pass is basically a 2 to pass for you. So in this case, maybe a split power here, 20k. Yeah. This is why I say it's very easy to branch a Force Heart. So let's say we drew a Force Heart over there. Having a lot of power there actually helps you to push very easily, as early game your opponent doesn't want to throw too much shield, especially if you go first. So this is 33k, which is 25k to block. Yeah, really some good things there. So now we are slowly by damage over turns. Take a damage turn. Okay, let's see, take a damage. I should bring back this thing. Yeah. Then let's see, stand and draw. We go into Hex, so Persona right. So Persona right gives 10k to the front row, right? And draw. So this is where Rough Look comes in. We can actually play Rough Look to the floor here. I'm gonna do it. Put Rough Look to the floor. Let's give additional 10k here. Then we can play Pentaglim Sorceress. So talk out for deck. Not a trigger. Let's put it to the bottom. The Hexaorb skill. Come +1. So +1. Reveal a trigger from your hand. Crit over the front. Put the crit to the top. You can call a booster here for the sake of it. Yeah. Now we can go into kind of cool place. So we can, with the pistol over here, you can think for 33k. Cost a Persona right. Then Hexaorb can attack for 31k. Yeah. So this crit is actually guaranteed, as we know. So if opponent got 2 to pass here, they lose. So yeah, kind of pressurizing thing. So check a crit here. We can actually now activate Lepistos effect first here. So you can come +2. Withstand this, give it additional 5k power. So that's really quite big. So let's focus on this right first. Then Hexaorb skill can activate. You see opponent Sentinel of the Vanguard, right? You can put all the effects here too. So this actually goes to up to 25k, which is really something. Let's get dice here to keep track of power. 30 gets big. Second check, third check. You weren't really fortunate here, but you can see how easily the numbers scale. So this is now actually a 58k rear guard, and that's considering we check only one trigger and one rough look. Yeah. Another thing to note is that if you only have one Comblast, you can actually resolve Faketa to arm flip first, then Comblast 2 to play for Lepisto to get around damage denial plays. Ideally, if you check 2 triggers during the start of turns, your regards can get very big and your opponent doesn't have perfect guard. It's kind of game over sometimes. As a slower variant, your aim is now just to play a somewhat normal early game, use the cards to refund your costs, and just keep on pressuring your opponent with this constant crits until opponent loses. This build is somewhat reliant on personal right, as there's no real way to guarantee triggers with the current cards available, besides Tartin and Center Cream as a rear guard. This will change in set 2, and I'll definitely cover that as we go. Now I'll see you for the aggro build, yeah. Welcome to the aggro build for Hexaorb, which I feel actually the kind of stronger build for the moment. It's really underrated, a little bit high roll if I call it, very luck based, but it's really strong when it gets the combo off. This build in particular, it's rather weak to retiree based decks, so if you prefer to play a more wider matchup, definitely play the combo version. I think they offer you more. If you really like to go in, play a chain deck, this is also very budget friendly, if you can see, as the only true power here is actually really Hexaorb, which is kind of important. In this build, there are some choices which I would highlight, which is the over trigger. So this is over trigger, I think it's just preferable, as this one gives you 200 million total, which is split across 200 millions. So if you want to go aggro, I definitely feel this is better, as Arlington Noah is very strong when you got set up, but this is stronger for pushing damage regardless of boss state. Here we give up the fronts entirely as it's a bit too gimmicky. We play the draw. This is kind of the 4th draw too, and we play for the 8 crit still for the aggro. Even if we do get 12 crit in the future, definitely I'll be trying it out for this build. So triggers, I'll put it out of the way. Then the same cards here, Keter, with the maintain Comblast. Obviously to work in tandem with Lapisto, which is the only big Comblast card in this deck besides Hexaorb, We play 4 now, as is our main way to push games, as on turn 3, both on grade 2 you form these numbers, is really oppressive. So this build actually has a focus on forming magic numbers and abusing Hexaorb skill with it. So these cards I'll highlight now is Weshel, which is 10k booster, and even Knight of Heavenly Spear from Bastion's right line. So Weshel is a 10k booster when boosting anything. So this forms magic numbers against anything basically, as a 10k boost will demand at least 2 non-triggers or 1 trigger. Yeah, this alone be impact behind anything. Let's say you call it behind forts, right? This is a 20k line actually. So this actually demand a 15k guard from a grade 2 Vanguard, which forces the opponent to just throw triggers early game. Or call it behind a grade 3, it also forms a 23k line when combined with a grade 3. So this also demands a 15k guard from a grade 3 Vanguard. By abusing Hexaorb skill to give the trigger extra power, by putting 20k power because of Hexaorb skill, this is actually hitting for 33k line. So having against a grade 2 Vanguard, this is going to be 23 plus 20 is 43. 43 against a grade 3 Vanguard is a 35k guard, which is a magic number, which as long as the opponent doesn't have perfect guards, this is demanding 30 and a 5k shield. So it's always demanding 3 cards from your opponent for the moment until the 20k shields come out. Yeah, it's either perfect guard or this. So this is how the deck abuses the strong columns. Rooks is here for the exact same reason. It's able to form strong columns with grade 3. So 13 plus 15 is actually 28k, which is even stronger than the 10k booster. But Rook's requirement can be rather hard to meet. Sometimes, usually it's not a problem, but you need 3 rear guards which are grade 3s. 3 units rather. So you need a Vanguard and 2 grade 3 rear guards, which is why we do play other rear guards, which like Rough Look over here. Rough Look plays for the same reason as I mentioned before. Here at 3 copies to essentially a card you can call game to rush, or this is a card you combo with Lapisto to maintain soul to make cost 4 for Keter, and even a grade 3 on the field to meet conditions for Rooks. So this build is less focused on card advantage actually, and it's a very strong build in my opinion, despite its kind of poor matchup chart. So again, this deck's weak against removal, but it's strong against lower pace decks. And definitely one tip I would say is do not guard early for this deck. I'd rather when you're playing this deck, do not guard early, as you definitely need counterblast to get the deck working. Do not overcommit. So now I'll show you a brief play of how to play the deck like before. For example, I'll be starting second to show you how aggressive the deck can be. As for the second player does attack first. Let's see a starting hand, something like this. Yeah, so cards here to mulliganing for is Lapisto, Hexaorb, and cards like Weshel of Rooks for boosters. So this session we didn't get anything too particular, but we do have a lot of attackers here. So yeah, let's go second. Let's draw rooks. Get a square. Call it a turn probably. Measure this briefly. Yeah, okay. Then let me check one. Stand and draw. Yeah. Discarding. Let's just cut a card here. I'm going to Pentagram. Draw a card. More triggers, not that great. Call Weshel over here. Let's call my rooks here. So Weshel, very strong card, get booster. So this is a 20k line. If you go second, actually, you can call it off early as turn 1 from a 18k column to demand more shield. Yeah, so this you can just play more aggressively slowly. Critical trigger, something like that, for some damage in. So why the turn really gets interesting is on turn 3. So let's say you take a damage. So I say do not really guard this thing. Discard a card, go into Hexaorb. So Hexaorb skill, top 3 strike. Okay, this is very lucky. Over trigger. Let's say we got a normal crit instead, right? Okay, let's just take the over trigger here. Yes, it can happen. So for this build, it's not much to scry. Triggers go to the top generally. Remember the over triggers goes to the top too. So here, yeah. Then we can use Call Light Lapis over here. Save this for next turn. Then like 13k per normal. 23k, so your opponent got still to pass, which after this cry is very scary. They usually no guard here. So critical trigger attack. Crit Vanguard, power Regard, then give 10k power to this thing again. Then Lepisto cannot activate, come plus 2, so it's 10k, 5k. So this can get 20k or can split move by 10. Really important note is that because this is a very strong turn 3 play, this is a common thing an aggro player would play for. You can save this for turn 4, but at that point you're better off playing the combo build. Then yeah, second check, we saw this, I guess, over trigger. We do draw 1, banish this. So yeah, against push really hard. Then next turn, as long as you got a single counter plus, your personal right turn is ready to go. Yeah, so either build you want to play, whether you want to play more combo balance or you want to play like aggro, both builds and direction to Hexaorb can really go far. Right now, I like to give a big disclaimer that Hexaorb is not a tier 1 deck, so you're looking to pick the deck up strictly for competitive play. Do give it some time, as the set support will definitely change it, as the forecast we saw really make this deck much better than it currently is. In my opinion, this version of the deck, which is the aggro build, has a lot of potential in the future. So definitely give it a try. It's relatively cheap to pick up too. I don't think this Hexaorb is that expensive to pick up. Maybe the SP is like 12-ish, but the grade 3 3-power is very cheap. For the combo version, definitely I would say it's the preferred build for at the moment, as it's more stable and is able to deal with more threats. As you're playing slow version, you can consider upping amounts of Tail Square Sorceress over here to deal with Overdress and just generally people call a lot of cards to the front row. All in all, Hexaorb's a very interesting card. Despite not having the joining art and all that, it's still my favorite bosses in the early Overdress meta, and definitely has a lot of potential depending on which build you want to play. You want to play combo, you want to play aggro. This boss card allows for both playstyles, which is really amazing, and really a prop to the design team for making things like this. Yeah, with that, I hope you enjoyed both deck profiles. And yeah, I'll even post the grade 3 version at the end of this. We shall be covering what I call grade 3 Hexaorb, which is basically Bastion without Bastion. It's funny as it works, and I'll covering more in detail in the deck guide. So yeah, once again, thanks for the support. I just saw like 1,000 views on one of my videos recently, so really thanks to all y'all for sharing it, your friends, so maybe just Jaime and all. Yeah, shout out to Jaime and my guys at Axis Vanguard. Yeah, with that, yeah, thank you. And I'll see you next time with maybe Bruce, maybe actually. I'll see first. Okay, bye.